South Carolina, and been doing the business for a little over 3 years now. And I'm gonna talk, if you go to this page in your little flyer thing, I'm gonna talk about expanding your market, and it's something that I am passionate about. It's something that I think that everybody should be doing. It's something that a lot of people are really scared to do. But I am a type 2 person. It is not fun for me to go to businesses. It's not something that I'm like, yes, let me go to 10 businesses today. This is gonna be so much fun. But I want to grow my own business, and I know that it works, and it's a way to meet new people and to make those connections. If you're not getting those connections on social media and you feel stuck, like you don't know who else to reach out to, then going out to businesses works really, really well. So I think the first thing is to treat your business like it's an actual business and not a hobby. My husband is in medical sales. He has been for a really long time, and he is very good at it, so I get a lot of coaching from him. And he talks a lot about how your energy when you're going into these businesses has to be really high, and you need to figure out a way to connect with that person. So I go kind of all across the board of businesses, because I really honestly think that there isn't a business that couldn't use the oils. But you need to find kind of what works for you and what you feel comfortable with. I always tell people to start easy. Start at a place where you know, like a friend of a friend, or have some kind of connection, because practice really does make perfect. I've been to hundreds of businesses. It doesn't always work out. The majority of the time it doesn't work, but it's a numbers game. So the more you can go out to different businesses, the more you're gonna make that connection. So it is, so treat it like a business. Set a goal. I have a day a week that I just go to businesses, and I'll hit, I try to hit 10 to 15 that day. And if you're working, so I was working full time when I started doing this, and I was still going out to businesses. So I'd do it on my lunch break, or I'd take a late lunch and just hit, a few businesses that were close to me. Or maybe it's calling, maybe it's emailing. I just kind of decide how I'm gonna go into that, to each one, depending on what it is. And then making sure that you're sticking to that. So I had a goal, like every week I set a goal, and I'm like, this is how many I'm gonna reach out to, this is who I'm gonna reach out to. Also have a pen and a notebook in my car, and as I'm driving around and I'm going to the grocery store, or I'm taking my kids to school, or running errands, or whatever, I'm always writing down new businesses to go to, because places pop up all the time. So there's always someplace new, there's always someplace I hadn't thought of, or maybe, I'm just have blinders on and thinking about something else, and I'm like, oh wow, look at that place. I haven't even seen that before, and it could be there for a year. So write it down, and then go and stalk your business. Before you reach out to anybody, be educated on who you're reaching out to. Don't blindly walk into places. It doesn't look good for you, as it doesn't look like you know what you're doing. So treat it as if you are a pharmaceutical rep, or you're a people go into businesses all the time to sell something. So treat it like you're actually, working for a big company, and it's really important. And so you look professional, and the way that you go in, you feel good, you feel confident, because you know who you should be reaching out to, or have at least an idea of who you should be reaching out to, and you have an idea of what that business does. And nowadays, they most have a Facebook page or an Instagram page, and you can look at their events and see if they even host events. Is that something that they do? Or maybe they've already had an oils class before, or maybe they're already using oils, and you can kind of figure that out, so you're not going to those businesses that already have oils, and they're like, oh, well, you didn't do any research on us. It's obvious that we have events every week, So that's a big thing. So stalk your businesses. I look up everybody online, make sure that I know what I'm doing and who I'm reaching out to before I walk into any place. If you look on the back of your sheet, I made these. I've had a lot of success with dental offices, so these two sample dialogues are specific for dental offices. The first one is if I'm walking into a business. This is kind of what I say. It's the office manager, usually, who you want to reach out to and who is going to be your contact. And so if you walk into a business, you're not going to talk to that person. I don't know that I've ever, maybe once, I've like gotten where I'm like, can get back to somebody and actually have that conversation. So you want to get their contact information so you can follow up with an email, and then I always follow up with going back in as well. They're not going to contact you back, probably, until you can like form some kind of connection. They're just not. So you have to follow up over and over and over again. And honestly, I follow up until somebody says, no, I'm not interested. And most of the time what you get is, yeah, I am interested, but it's not the right time, or I'll get to this next week, talk to you about it next week, and they don't contact you. So if you go in again on that second time, then you always like do a handwritten note, take a little 5 ml roller with wild orange or whatever you want to put in it, leave it with them. Thank you for letting me drop this off. I look forward to working together. I will follow up with you next week. Not I look forward to hearing from you, because that puts the ball in their court. You always want to keep the ball in your court so that you have control of the situation. The bottom one is if I'm sending out an email. One of the biggest things when you're going in, so whatever business it is, you want to make sure that you have that connection, like you can form a connection with them. So for this one, if I'm saying, my name is Brook Griffin, I want to stop by to introduce myself and see if your office had any interest in using essential oils. I have worked with other offices in the area that have great results with diffusing oils, especially for anxious patients. So if I'm going into a Pilates, that's for a dental office. If I'm going into a Pilates studio, maybe I'm saying, I've worked with a lot of other studios in the area. Even if you haven't, you have. Say that. Do not say that.
You are my first one.
This is the first business I've ever been in. Let's see how this works out. Because that is not professional. Like, nobody wants to do business with you. They want to know that you have done this before and that this works. So just say it. And you can say, so maybe it's, I work with other Pilates studios in the area. They diffuse up at their front desk. It's something that their clients really like. They also like to diffuse, or they also like to use it on cold towels after a class when they are leaving, like whatever it is. That's when you want to like make a connection so that they can see themselves using that oil in their business. And that, like, it works really well to kind of get in and get a conversation started, because the goal is to get a conversation started. I don't ever like take a kit in and you should buy this kit. That's not like the goal. The goal is to get the business interested and then to get them start diffusing, and then you can, after that, you're like, well, your staff needs to be educated on how to tell your clients and your customers, like when they ask questions about why this diffuser is going, so let me come by and do a lunch and learn. And I'll bring in breakfast or lunch, or I've done happy hours, whatever. And that way your staff's educated so they look really intelligent when somebody asks, why are you diffusing, and not just say it because it smells good. Like, there's a reason behind why you're diffusing. And so that then you're not only getting the business enrolled, but then you're getting the staff there enrolled. And I wrote down a list of like very specific places that I've been that have worked for me. And so all of these places that either I have oils in where they're selling them, or they have hosted workshops, or the business is diffusing. So Pilates studios are awesome. And those, they're using them at the end of the class with towels, cold towels. They're diffusing in their like play areas. One specific one has like a little daycare, and then they're diffusing at the front desk. And then they're using On Guard concentrate to wipe down everything. Country clubs have been really great. I'm on a quarterly rotation with 2 different country clubs. They are always looking for events for their members, new things. So if you can, I had one reach out to me from a friend of a friend who uses the oils, and then I reached out to another, and they have both been really awesome about wanting to incorporate that. Local businesses that really want to support other local businesses are amazing. I have a really great home furnishing store. It's so random. They're awesome. I teach quarterly there as well, and then they diffuse in the store, and I just tell them kind of what workshops. I just have to come up with the ideas of the workshops. Those are mostly make and takes. I charge for those. I charge the country clubs as well. The country club pays the fee, not the members. In the stores, the customers are paying that fee, and it depends on what I'm doing. It's usually like $15 or $20, and then if they enroll, then I give them that money back. Is how I usually handle that. Nursing homes, especially ones that have dementia wings, they are really they really want to educate their staff on how to start incorporating aromatherapy for their clients that come in or that live there. And then assisted living and senior centers are huge. Now it's taken me, I do 3 different senior centers. I'm on a quarterly rotation at those. It takes a while. It took me a while to kind of get in the groove there where I was seeing enrollments. And that's another thing, like with what Jenna said, when you kind of take your, detach from that outcome of why you're going into the business, I don't ever go in obviously you want the sale, but that's not why I go. It's not why I go teach. I go and educate, and that's it. And a lot of times I don't get any enrollments. A lot of times I do. So either way, it's a win-win for me because I expose those people, they're educated, they'll come back around. I know they will. That's just how the way it works. So if you can, you go to a business, I've gone to 15 businesses in one day and had nothing. And so I can either say, well, that didn't work, and I'm not gonna do that again, or I can go back out and do it again. And if you keep showing up, it will start turning around. And you have to practice. You have to get good at it. The way you present yourself, you have to be really confident in yourself and your knowledge of in the product and your energy going in. If you're going into a business and you're like, well, I have this really great product and you should really try it, and you're acting like this and you're talking really, kind of timid, they're gonna be like, get out, we have no time for you. But if you I have this amazing product and I really think this is how it can help your patients, because it's all about service. You want to make their lives easier, and anything that is gonna make their lives easier, they're gonna listen to. Real estate offices, diffusing in the office, and then agents diffusing in open houses has been really great. Tech companies, if you have any smaller tech companies, those people are stressed to the max. So they love lunch and learns, they love happy hours. I just usually go and teach there. It's not a make and take kind of deal. Law firms, accounting offices, they're super stressed. They love lunch and learns. And then apartment complexes, the new ones that are coming up. So there's a ton in Charleston that are super high end, and they're always looking for social events because they're trying to, make themselves different from the next apartment complex that's coming up. So they always have social events going on, and they are really open to you coming in and teaching. And that's all ages. That is college students all the way up to 50, 60, 70-year-olds in those places. So it's a really great diversity in there. And then Athleta, Madewell, and West Elm. If you have those in your area, they will let you host workshops and make and takes, and that's a good way to get into somebody else's, their big bank of mailing list.
Can you repeat those last ones?
Madewell, Athleta, and West Elm.
Okay.
Those are the ones that have really worked for me. That I'm only talking about things that I've had success with.
Have you done Lulu before or no? Lululemon?
I've reached out to them, and
Okay.
I haven't had anybody.
I think any up and coming store is looking for the community piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They know that they don't want to just sell the clothes, and the way to get people in the store is by providing other services. So I'm sure there's many more than
And
just
make
that.
it any really any kind of business. Make it really kind of cool and different. If you can kind of get a little bit creative, and so it's still a 101 that you're teaching, but it's in a different, fun way. Next on my list is like florist shops. There's a lot of like new like floral, like kind of modern shops, and doing succulent classes with them, and then perfume classes. I've had some people say they had a lot of success with that. So really, I mean, there's just so many different possibilities. So when somebody says that I don't know who else to reach out to, I've reached out to all my family and friends, and now that I'm done, and you're like, no way, like you just have to be. It's really uncomfortable. I know it's uncomfortable for me to go to these places. Like it's not easy, but you just get used to it. And I just honestly think that there is no growth in being comfortable. You know, if you're good with just staying like this all the time, but if you want like growth in yourself and your business, you have to step out of that comfort zone. And it's just, it's worked in my business. It's worked really well. It keeps you moving forward, and that's what you want in your business. You don't want to ever like just stay stagnant, because it's just nothing happens in that. So it makes me always to think out of the box and to keep moving forward.
Awesome.
Oh, and don't take anything personally. It's never you. It is not you. When people like you have to stop taking things personally. I did it for the longest time. I'd be like, oh, they don't like me. I didn't say something right. And it's never you. It's always about the timing. And so if you come in with the right energy around it, then it will flow back to you. It will. And it may not flow the way that you want it to flow or you think it should flow, but it will. Like something will happen and it all comes back to you. So, see if you have any questions. Yeah.
I have a question. You said you go into the offices and you just interested in using essential oils or diffusing. Do you bring like a diffuser just in case you do actually, you know?
I have it in my car. I do. I don't bring it
Okay.
in, but if somebody says that, then yeah, I have it in my car and with some oils.
Okay.
If they're like, yeah, and I'm like, sweet, yeah, here you go. And I'll show them exactly how to use it right then and there. But that's not the majority how it goes. Really, for me, it's to make that connection and to get their information, just to get a conversation going. And I really want them to buy what works for them. So it's usually it is a kit because it makes sense financially, but I want to make sure whatever they're buying that they're going to use and it's not going to sit on the shelf. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. You know, I just did a few business ideas of how to do it. Megan takes hosting workshops in their spaces. The happy hour lunch and learns, the breakfast lunch and learns, and then sample a diffuser. I haven't had a ton of success with that. I know people that have, but it just hasn't really worked for me a bunch. Usually they just either want it or they don't. They don't really want to sample it.
I had a question on the lunch and learn. So you're paying for the whole office to have lunch, and then the office buys a kit, and you get $20. It seems like you're losing.
Well, so if I'm doing a lunch and learn, I'm enrolling the staff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like, it's just the office. So, yeah, I don't really bring in a lunch and learn just to do an office. I want the staff there.
So Brooke, are you finding that I walk into the Pilates place, have my class, I'm like, that smells good, and the staff's all trained, are they referring people back to you then to be like educated on like a one-on-one basis?
Yeah, there's I have a friend who has a Pilates studio, and that's how I got out in the beginning, like for a while.
Yeah.
It's a really small studio, but that's how I enrolled everybody that she just sent my way.
It's awesome.
And she just wanted free oils. I offered her the enrollments, and she said no. She didn't want to deal with it, so I just gave her free oils. Yeah.
So if a business wants to like enroll or have that in their business, is it just like the owner has a personal account, or is it separate?
I've always done the owners. I have not messed with the business accounts just because I tried to once and I was just told just enroll and then you can do it later, and then they just never did it later. Yeah, my account manager was like, it's complicated, just have her enroll right now, and then they just never did. So most of them are fine with just setting it up in their own account.
Awesome. Thank you.